All right, guys, this particular one, Atiku don't vow, say, no matter what APC Tinubu do, ADC can never fall. Then Atiku went on, say, ADC will shock the world, not just Nigeria. ADC will shock the world in 2027. Atiku also went on by saying, I might not wrong. That one got me. Listen, guys, I want us to listen to this first.
Former Vice President Atiku Abubakar yesterday vowed that despite efforts by the ruling All Progressives Congress to ridicule and play down the current momentum in the African Democratic Congress ADC, the coalition will shock the world in the 2027 presidential election. Atiku also laid to rest insinuations that he might not contest the presidential poll 2 years from now, stressing that he will run for the nation's top job in the next election cycle. Atiku, until recently a prominent figure in the People's Democratic Party, has often sought broad coalitions to strengthen his presidential bids. In that light, the ADC, a hitherto relatively smaller party, has brought together some heavyweight politicians, positioning itself as a third force alternative outside the dominance of the APC and PDP. However, apart from Atiku, ex-Anambra Governor Peter Obi and former Rivers Governor Rotimi Amechi have made public their intentions to jostle for the ADC's presidential ticket as a part of a coalition of opposition figures seeking to challenge President Bola Tinubu at the polls in 2027. While the former vice president has positioned himself as the most experienced hand, Obi, the 2023 presidential candidate of the Labour Party, has insisted he will not play a secondary role to anyone. Also, Amechi, a former Minister of Transportation, has hinted on plans to throw his hat into the ring. Atiku's statement is also coming as the presidency has often seized every opportunity to ridicule the ADC, claiming that the coalition only exists on paper and portraying it as inconsequential as well as lacking real electoral weight.
Secondly, about Atiku Abubakar, yes, he has a right to run. Everybody will compete effectively in the field, and we'll see who will emerge. Because there have been indications that he will not run, he should not run. I'm not going to stop anybody's right to run. But I'm also going to say some things this morning. Number one, we have to say it the way it is. If you have candidates in this coalition that can't come together because of their ambition, definitely it will fracture the coalition in such a way that it will make it an easier ticket for President Tinubu. So while all of them are jostling to have capacity, in the emergence of a particular candidate, it is in their best interest that they work together. If they don't work together, they make it easier. And that's just it. It shows from history, it's better to have a coalition of forces to fight against an incumbent. It's not today we've been doing it. In 1999, we did the same. Olufalaye and Marsh in Kafi, NPP, and the Alliance for Democracy had to come together to fight the march of Olusegun Obasanjo. The APC also reprised that with the coalition of APGA and other political parties, and even some people out of the PDP coming together to be able to fight incumbent President Goodluck Jonathan then in 2015. It's better off that way because you have a better footing and you have a coalition of forces to pretty much do that. But in the case where there's an emergence of a candidate from the coalition and there's a division, it makes it easier for President Tinubu. And trust me, President Tinubu will not sit down and allow you come together. He doesn't even want it in the first place because he's a politician and he also wants to win. That's just my bit about that.
In fact, in 2027, ADC will shock the world because he is determined to take power from President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and that he will run. Nobody should go and say that he will not run. And that Professor Olateju saying he is not desperate, he will not run at all costs. Atiku more or less is saying he will run at all costs. So you see, there is some kind of, chemistry, mathematics about this 2027. And we have not seen the end of it. It's an evolving story. It's a developing story. After all, over the weekend, President Obasanjo was quoted by Leadership newspaper as preparing to publish a book very soon, Nigeria, Past and Present, in which he said, according to leadership, I'm not the one saying so, leadership says that President Obasanjo says that President Buhari is the most incompetent person that ever showed up in the presidency of Nigeria, and that President Tinubu is following very closely. So in other words, in that book, President Obasanjo is going to write off President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So all of these things will affect the calculations, you know, as we move towards 2027. And there's also the Jonathan question. In Kano, on Sunday, I think it was yesterday, one Dr. Kiari, leading a group, said that, in fact, bring back our good luck, that this bad luck of poverty and debt servicing is too much. They want their bad luck back. So it's a very, they want their good luck back. So it's a very fluid situation as you know, we look at this developing story. So Atiku saying he wants to come back. Well, Dr. Kiari of the Bring Back Our Good Luck group in Kano that met at the Aminu Kano Center yesterday said that Atiku Abubakar and every other person, Peter Obi, Kwankwanso, they should all go and sempe. That's not an English word. They should all just give up and allow President Jonathan to lead, you know, the struggle against Bola Ahmed Tinubu. But what I don't understand is this construction of Nigerian politics in personal terms, in these Manichaean terms. It didn't help us previously. I don't see how it will help us this time.
All right, let me start with the ADC story and former Vice President Atiku Abubakar now confirming that he will throw his hat in the ring. So perish any thoughts or doubts that he would not perhaps be vying for the ticket of the ADC, newly formed coalition of the ADC. He said he will do so. Also, he's also mentioned that the ADC will shock the world in 2027, and they are building a very powerful coalition. And that's, you know, fair enough statement. In fact, they want to position themselves as the third force in the 2027 elections, taking the position of the Labour Party, which acted in that role in the 2023 elections. To what extent would they succeed in this, their quest for taking on the #1 seat in Nigeria? Well, a few things I've just put under the obstacles, the many obstacles of the ADC. I am of the firm belief that for a vibrant democracy, we need opposition parties that would be thriving and can really give the incumbent a run for their money in order to avoid complacency. And so, as much as possible, let us encourage more parties to emerge, and if possible, if anyone is willing to take on the current president, by so being, let it be so. But the most important thing is, at the end of the day, the people get to decide amongst the many candidates presented before them who they want to lead them come 2027. The first obstacle for the ADC, which is very clear, very obvious, is the battle for the ticket in itself. Who will emerge as the presidential flag bearer of the ADC? I say that because we saw what happened with the PDP in the last election. And this fight, internal wrangling for what the zoning formula, who emerged as the presidential candidate bearer, cost them perhaps the elections in the last cycle. And we saw how the internal fightings have not just weakened the PDP, but almost disseminating the party or decimating the party completely as we speak. Is ADC, as a young infant party, going to face the same challenge? Because we have different camps coming together to form a party. We have those who are in camp Atiku, we have those who are in camp Obi, we have those who are in camp Amechi, and other camps that might emerge in the nearest future. Now, if one person then emerges as a presidential flag bearer of the party, would the other power heavyweights be willing to throw their weight behind this one candidate to have a chance at the polls in 2027? This is a big question for them to answer. That's obstacle number one. Obstacle number two, it's a race against time, if we're being honest. The incumbent party, aside from having the advantage of the incumbency factor, has also been working tirelessly almost immediately as soon as they got into power, into office. And so they have been, you know, all the groundwork, mobilization, network, they've been doing all this while. The ADC, like I mentioned, is in its infancy, and already we are hearing stories coming out from it. In fact, someone described them as a press releasing party. That's not strong enough if they are going to battle the APC come 2027. That's one of the obstacles. So some of the things that they must go to the drawing board, which I'm sure perhaps they're already aware of, or to highlight it again, if they are going to shock the world indeed in 2027, these are some of the things that they was put into play. Something else that another big obstacle for them is INEC, the Independent National Electoral Commission. We saw what's happened in terms of confidence in INEC's ability to run a free and fair election. And so let's assume that presidential party ticket has been gotten, they've been able to get their acts together, they are united, they come with one voice. When it comes to the polls, may INEC not happen to them in the way that we have seen in the previous cycles of election? What Nigerians have pushed for again and again is even more electoral reform to ensure that our Electoral Act of 2022 is stronger in order to enable Nigerians have more confidence in the process of election come 2027. Because no matter how strong a party is, as we saw in 2023, if INEC is not able to assure Nigerians of a free and fair election, it would be an obstacle not just to the ADC, but all other parties who are in opposition. And so we're hoping that the independence, the I in INEC, would truly be I come 2027. Another opposition, of course, and I'll tie this in with a story from the NBA general conference in Enugu taking place currently, which is the judiciary. Oftentimes we say that during election cycles, the judiciary is on trial. We've seen what's happened in previous elections where by some magic, as it were, a candidate who had no bearing close to the winning line then emerges as winner. Or we see cases thrown out on grounds of technicalities. Therefore, after passing the hurdle of INEC, the judiciary is supposed to come in to step in where there are issues around contests for the viability of an election. If the judiciary, as what the call as made by the Sultan of Sokoto, which I applaud, I think it's time for everyone, royal fathers, traditional leaders, begin to speak up about the state of our nation and the state of our judiciary, then they also have that obstacle on their hands. All eyes on the judiciary, as we saw in 2023.
Okay, this one where Atiku say he might not run or not compulsory, say he must run or whatever. Anyhow, he insinuated directly, indirectly. Does it mean that Atiku is feeling the heat from the concerned Nigerians, the expressions of Nigerians on social media that he should step down for Peter Obi? I don't know. I'm only asking. Does it mean Atiku is prepared now to present Peter Obi and stand by him to succeed and see a better Nigeria? I'm only asking. I don't know. I'd like to hear from you. This is Nigeria Watch Media. Join us every day, 7 p.m. Nigerian time. Let's continue to talk about the things that affect you and I. Take care, guys, and bye for now.